The 15-minute back bending sequence is great for at the end of a full practice. It's a good way for the body afterwards to release and open up through the chest. We have a tendency to often curl forward in our lives and our practice and lots of what we do. And the shoulders, it creates this kind of confined space. So with back bending, it's not just about kind of bending the back backwards. It's more about finding length and extension. We'll do some twists in this practice, and then we'll also end up on our belly for part of the time to kind of get some of that openness through the chest so that the back body can really release. It creates stability along the length of the spine, and if you notice that you're really carrying some tension, if you're finding the shoulders drooping forward, or you're feeling a lot of pressure in your lower back during your workouts, this is a great sequence to kind of get into those areas, find some fluidity, find some movement in the upper body, and even in the lower back. So we'll start in a comfortable seated position, hands just gently resting onto the knees, and then try and sit up really nice and tall. Yeah. Relax the shoulders down the back though, and press down into the sit bones to allow yourself to sit down a little bit taller. It's almost like a tennis ball, right? When you take a tennis ball and you throw it down into the earth, what happens? It rebounds and shoots back up. So we're gonna do the same thing with the energy in the back of the body. We're gonna ground down through the sit bones, and then feel that kind of return back up through the spine, all the way up through the crown. Draw your chin down slightly. So chin down, yeah. Chin is nice and level to the earth so we get that length in the back of the neck as well. And then soften the chest. Just soften in here. Let go of the day. Let go of whatever it is and whatever came before this practice. Take a really deep breath in through your nose and a cleansing exhale. Let it go. Good. Let's do that again. Inhale through the nose, filling up completely into the belly, into the chest. And exhale, side out. Good. We're gonna lie down onto our backs and have 2 blocks handy. These blocks might become a little bit intense for this back bend that we're gonna start with, so have a blanket nearby as well if you have one. We're gonna take one of the blocks and place it right between Tim's shoulder blades, so the upper shoulder blades. Go ahead and start to lie back onto the block. Good. And position this block so that it really ends up between the shoulder blades and upper back and less on the mid and lower back. And then I'm gonna take the other block, I'm gonna put it on its highest setting. So the one behind the shoulder blades right now is on the second highest setting. The block behind the head is on the highest setting. Take your arms out to the sides. Yeah, palms up facing. Yeah, upward facing, good. And then just start to melt into the breath here, right? So we're just allowing the shoulders to kind of melt open, the chest to expand, creating space in the sides. Fill in through the belly, fill in through the chest, breathing all the way up into the throat. And then on the exhale, letting it come back down in the same manner that it just came in. Allowing those blocks to take some of the weight. So as I mentioned, this can be a little bit intense. Stay here for a few breaths. It might just be that it's uncomfortable and it's new and you haven't felt this before, or it might be that it really is painful, and then don't do it. Take a blanket and just kind of roll it up like a little burrito and place that behind the spine instead. The head would hang off the edge of the blanket. Good. Take another breath in. Anchor through the hips, kind of relaxing the weight of the lower body. Good. You could stay here for a few breaths, or you could even do this by itself sometime if you're feeling a lot of, we're always leaning forward and sitting at desks and typing and doing that stuff where our shoulders roll in and we get really closed off. So this is just a great pose to kind of counteract that and find some balance in the back body. And then very gently, coming out of this is not very graceful, but roll to the left side, slowly roll, bring your right hand up. Support yourself with that left forearm, and then we'll remove the blocks from behind you. Go ahead and lie back down onto the back. Pause here for a moment and just take a few breaths, noticing the difference in the chest, the difference in the back. Maybe you can breathe a little bit deeper. Good. One more, inhale. And exhale. Take your left arm up overhead, roll to the left side. Good, so you're gonna roll onto the left side, and then you're gonna come all the way up to seated. Come forward and make your way into tabletop pose. Good, rolling over the knees. Hips end up directly underneath the knee, or directly on top of the knees. Wrists end up directly on top of the shoulders. So set yourself up, it is exactly as it sounds, it's a table, right? And we'll start with some cat-cow. Inhale, drop the belly down, take the gaze forward. Good, so belly comes down. Yes, tilting through the back of the pelvis, good. Exhale, chin into chest, puff up through the sides of the waist. See how much doming there is going on through the back body there? That's great. Drop the belly down, inhale. Let the breath happen first, and then initiate the exhale and let the body respond. Good. Slowly come back to a neutral spine. Shift the weight into your right hand, take your right arm forward, turn the palm facing the midline of the body. Good. Or we'll start with the left this time. No, stay with the left. It doesn't matter. That's the good thing about it, right? We always do the right side first. We're starting with the left. Left arm forward, turn it towards midline. Good, and then take your right leg back. Wherever you can go that you're doing the opposite arm and opposite leg. It's great. Now, take your lower ribs and draw them in towards your hip points. Yes. So the belly isn't just kind of collapsing down to the earth. Good. Take a breath or two here, find your balance, find that one point of focus, and then bend into this back knee. Reach back with the left arm, and there might be a foot there. If you don't find a foot, that's all right. Just keep extending that left arm back and bend through the right knee anyway. Good. So let go of the foot, stay in this pose for a minute. Good. So you might just be here, right? Holding that, opening up, drawing the chest forward. Or if you find the bind, go ahead and hold on. Press the foot into the hand, lift the inner right knee up. Good. And then exhale, release. Come back through center. Take the hand down, drop the right knee to the earth, and we'll switch sides. So right arm comes forward, left leg comes back. Good. Notice that integrity of the belly, navel hugging in towards the spine. Draw it in. And then even though he's reaching out through the fingertips, the shoulder is staying plugged into its socket. Good. And then bend through the left knee, reach back with the right arm. Maybe there's a foot there. Now this side might be different, right? Press the foot into the hand, and then ground down more into the left hand to lift the chest. Good. And slowly release. Take your right hand back down to the earth, release the left knee. Tuck into the toes, we're gonna come into downward facing dog, so keeping the knees really bent. Nice flat spine here. Outer arms rolling down, making space between the neck and the shoulders. Good. Take a breath or two here. If it's your first down dog of the day, go ahead and pedal out through the legs. So go ahead and straighten into one leg, and then bend and straighten into the other. All right, back into downward facing dog. We're gonna do some roll forwards into plank, and this is just to kind of find some lubrication in the back of the body. The head is gonna be the last thing to lift. We're gonna be making our way forward into an upward push-up position. But I want you to imagine to try and take one vertebrae at a time, so start to roll forward like a little wave. Yes, press up through the shoulders, press up through the shoulders, and then the last thing to come forward is the chest. Soften between the shoulder blades and bring it forward. Heart comes forward and through. Hips stay nice and high. Good, exhale, take it back, downward facing dog. We're gonna let him try that one or two more times. Go ahead and roll it forward, one vertebrae at a time. Try and puff up through the back of the ribs. The head is the last thing to come forward. And then keeping the hips high, soften between the shoulder blades and the chest comes forward and through. Good, exhale, take it back, downward facing dog. Last time, inhale, roll forward. Deepest breath in, roll forward into plank pose. Let the head be the last thing, so drawing the chin into the chest until the final moment. Good, exhale, take it back, downward facing dog. Inhale, extend your right leg up and back. Keeping the hip nice and closed, gently drop that outer right hip. Yeah, so the hips stay nice and level to the front of the room. Flex into that right foot, look forward between your palms. Draw the knee into the chest, knee into the chest, knee into the chest, and then slowly step that right foot forward. So you might have to kind of wiggle around to get there. Good, when it does drop onto the back knee, release the back toes. Plant into the left hand, and then start to open up and twist to the right, extending the right arm up overhead. Stacking the right shoulder on top of the left, externally rotate this left arm. So left shoulder externally rotates, and get some space, push down to lift out of the left side. Yeah, good. And then take a breath or two here, reaching up through the fingertips. He's looking up right now, but if the neck was hurting, you can always just keep the gaze down and just take this twist. So his spine is doing this kind of spiral staircase as it works its way open from the base up. And then take your right hand, place it down onto the back of the body, the lower back, a little bit lower, right onto the sacrum, right? So this lower part of the back, right between almost the hips. Good, keeping that hand there to kind of remind you about that place. Inhale, come all the way up with the upper body. Keep the legs where they are. Take your left arm high, stay in the twist. Good. And then lift that right hip point away from the right thigh. Good. On your exhale, take your left elbow, cross it over the body towards the outside of that right knee. Yeah. And then maybe leave the right hand where it is, or possibly press the right palm down into the left. Fingertips are facing forward towards your chin. Yeah. And then he's grounding down with the right hand into the left to try and lift his chest up, maybe even making contact with the thumb and the sternum. Good. If you're really feeling like you want to test your balance today, tuck into the back toes, possibly lift that back knee, playing with the balance here. remembering to breathe, right? So this yoga practice is all about finding the breath in these places to make them more sustainable, to get movement, to create space. Good, drop the back knee slowly down to the earth. Come through center, extend your arms straight up overhead. And we'll make our way into a gentle back bend. Field goal arms, almost football season, right? Lift the frontal hip points up, and then keep the tailbone drawing down, protect that lower back. Bring the awareness to the center of the shoulder blades and then lift up through that spot between the shoulder blades as the collarbones expand. Good, you might even take the gaze up towards the ceiling without leaning too far back into the neck. Good, can you roll your palms back even further than the elbows? Yes, and then lift from that spot between the shoulders. Inhale, lift the chest high. Exhale, take the hands back down to the earth. Step it back, downward facing dog. Good, take a breath here. Deep bend in those knees. You might need to pedal it out. You might notice a difference in the legs. Good. Extend the left leg up and back. Drawing the knee into the chest, look forward at the palms, step it on through. And then we'll drop down onto the back knee. So as he does this, he's setting up that left ankle so that it's directly underneath the left knee. Yeah, plant into the right hand this time and we'll twist to the left. Right hand down, left arm high. Good. Rolling that right shoulder open. Good, so roll it this way, yes. And then push down. So the more you push down into that right hand, the more you'll lift away. Yeah, good. Drop the left hand down to the lower back. Reach your right arm up, lift the upper body, keep the legs where they are. Good. A little bit of balance going on, yeah. It's not difficult lifting up out of that place. So he's in a twist, he's supporting the lower back, keep reaching up through those right fingertips, and then on your exhale, cross the right arm over the body, take it towards the outside of the left leg. And then pause here. Good, set yourself up, point the fingertips to the front of the room on that right hand, and then plant your left hand down on top of the right. So you can see it a little bit more here, that the left elbow is stacked on top of the right elbow. And the more he presses down into the left hand, the deeper this twist becomes. You might lift your gaze, or you might play with the balance and tuck into the back toes, lift the back knee, and see if this side's a little bit different than the other side, right? So if you're gripping with the toes, try and release some of that grip. Press out to the back heel, press out to the back knee, holding here for 3, for 2, and 1. Very gently place that right knee back down into the earth. Inhale, come up through center. Take the arms up wide, field goal those arms. And then spiraling those hands back behind the elbows, lift from the center part of the shoulders, draw the chest up and open. Good, inhale, extend up. Exhale, hold. Inhale, reach. And then exhale, take your hands back down to the ground. Step it back, downward facing dog. Good. Last time, roll forward into plank. So one vertebrae at a time, the chin being the last thing to come forward. Good. And then exhale, hug those elbows in, lower all the way down onto the belly for me. Oh, he's quite happy right now, right? Take one cheek down to the mat, take one cheek down to the earth, take your arms down by the sides. Oh, just take a breath. Release here for a moment. Draw your big toes into touch and let your heels just fall apart. Yeah. So we're gonna set ourselves up for a few back bends on the belly. We're gonna do 3 and they kind of build upon one another. So stick with what, if you don't want to take it any further, you can stick with the first ones that we might do. Flip your palms over when you're ready. Take your chin or your forehead down onto the mat in front of you. Good, ground down through the hands, and before we even lift up, draw the heels in together as well. Yeah, so legs are kind of zippered in. Tailbone is reaching back towards the heels. So keeping that support of the back, and then keeping the chin on the chest, on the ground at first, draw the shoulders up and back. Good. And then it probably feels like that chin wants to lift up, doesn't it? Yeah, so go ahead and lift the upper body, yeah. Keep the back of the neck long, the inhales will lift you up. The exhales hold that height that you just found. Good, one more deep breath in, pressing down through all 10 toes. Exhale, release to the opposite cheek, so take your left cheek down to the earth, yeah. And flip the palms up towards the ceiling. Big toes touch, heels fall apart. Just release into that lower back for a breath or 2. Good. So we're going to do that 2 more times. Take your palms back down to the earth. Draw the chin to the mat. Draw the heels in, legs zipper up. Right? So before that you do anything else, press the tops of the toes down. Maybe so much activation in the legs that the kneecaps lift. Lift the shoulders off the ground, and then when you're ready, inhale, lift the chest. Good, lift the chest. Good, stay here. If you want to add the legs on, reach the toes towards the back of the room. So trying to, like almost like a piece of taffy just being drawn out in different directions. Good, back of the neck long, so take your gaze down towards the earth. You see that? The back of the neck, we want that to be just as long. Inhale, lift. You might even lift the arms up the length of the body, point the fingertips pointing backwards. Good, inhale, one more. And exhale, release, right cheek down, palms face up, big toes touch, heels fall apart, take a break. Good. So sending the breath into the back of the body, maybe sending it down into the lower back, trying to breathe into the back of the ribs. Can you send your breath into that spot? Good. We're gonna do one more. So either stick with one of the first two that we did, or we'll come into bow pose, come back through center, chin onto the ground or forehead onto the earth. Bending through the knees, and see if you can reach back for the ankles at the same time. If you can't find the ankles, if they're just kind of somewhere out there and you're never gonna find them, come back to one of the first two options that we just did. If you can find the ankles like Tim is doing right now, draw the knees back in towards one another. The knees are gonna wanna kind of butterfly out. When you're ready, inhale, draw the chest up and through. Draw the chest up, good. And then press the feet into the palms. Flex into the feet. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, hold that height. Good, two more, inhale, lift. Exhale, hold. You might even find a gentle rock forward and back. One more time, inhale, lift. And then exhale, releasing, not like a rubber band, nice and slowly release the ankles, release the feet, take them back down to the ground. Let the big toes touch, heels fall apart. Yeah, one cheek down to the mat. Oh. Yeah, and you can even give yourself a little bit of a self kind of adjustment here by taking your fingertips underneath your hip points, and then just rocking your hips from side to side, and that releases into the lower lumbar as well. Good. He's on his right cheek right now, so I'll have you take your right arm forward all the way to the front of the room, and then use your left hand, roll yourself onto your back. If you come off of your mat, then just scoot yourself back onto the mat. Good. Bend into the knees. We'll do one round of back bends on the spine. Good. So walk the feet in, tickle the back of the heels with your fingertips. His feet are hip distance apart. And then keeping the gaze right up above you, so looking straight up at the ceiling right now. When you're ready, press down into the hands, reach the knees towards the back of the room, and lift those hips off the ground. Good. He could stay here, he could hold onto the sides of the mat. You might even interlace and walk the shoulders back underneath you and interlace the fingers, so you can go ahead and do that. Interlace the fingers behind you. Good. But spiraling these inner thighs in towards one another. Yeah, they stay hip distance apart, but they're kind of rolling in. Good, hold all that height that you have with the hips. Relax the glutes, relax the butt muscles, and then lift your chin away from your chest. Good, lift your chest up towards your chin. Yes, press the pinky finger down into the earth. One more deep breath. And then exhale, slowly release. Untangle the hands, draw the hips back down to the earth. Slowly release. Good, step the feet out nice and wide, and then just go ahead and windshield wiper the knees in. One falls in, and then the other. Very slowly, slow it down, yeah. So these counter poses that we have to these back bends sometimes, take them really slow when you come into them, and then very gently draw both knees into your chest. Come into a tight little ball. Good. Rock side to side. Hold onto the right leg and extend out through the left leg, and let the left leg just kind of hover. Yeah, and then start to peel the chest up, come into this tight little ball, and we're gonna switch the legs. So keep hold, and then switch. Left side, good. Let the other leg hover and switch. Right in, and switch, left leg in. You didn't know you'd do core today. Switch, right leg in. Now this is really good for releasing the lower back. Press the lower back into the ground. You can continue a few more here. Pressing the lower spine down into the earth. Finding that counter action. Good. One more time each leg. And then hug both knees in. Give them one more big squeeze, both at the same time. So draw the right knee in as well. Yeah. And then extend the legs out long. Take them to opposite corners of the mat. Take your arms by your sides, and you might just pause here in this final rest, taking a few breaths, chilling out for a little bit, and releasing.